Hey guys, I just wanted to, I guess try something a little different because, I want to do video game reviews, but I want to try some other stuff. So here's something that I want to do. This is a movie review. I hope it goes good, and I hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, here it is. The hardest thing to do with a lot of adaptation with anything, and especially if it's from another country, is trying to capture the essence of what that movie is about, or at least what that franchise is about. And we always see it from seeing American versions of Japanese or what have you of other foreign products, and something that it just never either does right or it actually accomplishes something very different from what was the usual, but it works great. Some great, some don't. But I think when it comes to things like, well, like for this case, Godzilla, that because we had a first outing with using Godzilla and it went horrible. So going into it, because this actually affected me never watching the first movie, which is bad because, and I feel ashamed on my part for not watching that movie because then I wouldn't get to know at least a little more of this particular Godzilla after seeing Godzilla King of the Monsters. And I gotta say that this movie was such a surprise. My gosh, it was such a surprise just to see because I was going in there not expecting much, thinking like it's an it's American made. It's not gonna be like the Japanese version for sure. And that isn't to say like, oh, the Japanese version is untouchable. It's just it's iconic. It's kind of hard to, how do you make something that's just as iconic as the Japanese version, the Toho version? Well, they did something that actually made it its own thing, but it pays so much homage and respect to its original. And I guess we'll start with plot. That it first starts off from, because I never seen the first movie, I'll have to tell you that much. It starts off after the events of the first movie, and we get to see this family recovering from the whole monster fights, and this man who lost his child in that wreckage, but having another child. So we focus on this family, we focus on the mom and the dad as they, not only do we find out about Godzilla, but we find out, because we're not just Godzilla and not the Mutos, but also of other monsters that are asleep in the planet. And they come in all varieties, including King Kong. So you actually, that it already confirmed that those are in a shared universe from that King Kong Skull Island, but they played into it even more to show that that it is a shared universe. So now we're not just getting those two, but we're getting monsters like Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. So you actually get those three iconic monsters along with Godzilla, and we start learning a little more as to why they're there. And when we get that, we also get a little more of the backstory as to where these monsters always, as to why these monsters were always fighting and what happened to. We don't get to learn really why they went to sleep, but I think that's fine. It's like, it's a nice way just to keep the mystery for maybe later movies. But for what they provide, I think it was the best part. And I gotta say, the monster battles were one of the equally the best parts of the whole movie. And it's just like, it's like, granted, you're not going to get the wackiness that you got from the Toho movies, which is a bit of a shame. I would love to see some of that wackiness come into here, but they made it work really great. The special effects were awesome. These monsters felt larger than life, and they made them, they caught the little subtleties that you see in all these monsters, and making sure that all their powers were there, to make sure that those powers stayed true to who they are. And the things that I personally enjoyed were the references, these references and Easter eggs to other Godzilla movies, just to see other monster names that were lit up on a map when they were showing where all these monsters were and what they, where they are, what their names were. But it wasn't just that, it was also seeing references like seeing Mothra in her larval form and then going to her uh, to her to her butterfly form, and then even seeing like there's a scene in there that always like it's just seeing like basically I want to say if I could only make it equivalent to would be like Godzilla goes Super Saiyan, but it's a reference to another Godzilla movie altogether and how they show him how he does that. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. Is it perfect? No, but no movie ever is, especially But for me, it was personally a really good movie. I felt so entertained by this, and that's why I want to give it 4 out of 5. If you're a Godzilla fan, you will be very, very happy by this film. If you like action, if you want to take a break from the usual, this is a nice alternative to anybody, especially for the summer. You always got to get them summer blockbusters in there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good night.